So here's what you can expect from a content perspective. So in a moment, we'll just take the time to introduce today's speakers. We're then going to introduce you to Power BI and look at exploring some of the key capabilities and concepts. So let's take a look at Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and clarify some of the main ways that Power BI can be licensed. We're then going to have a look at doing a live demonstration a bit later on in the presentation. That's hopefully going to help showcase the product and help you visualize that and show you how easy it is really to start using the tool, and perhaps help you envision the types of reports and dashboards that you might want to create, customize, and share across your organization. We're also going to look then at some of the key business benefits of using Power BI, where organizations are seeing a lot of value in the platform, and also how Microsoft Power BI stacks up against some other key industry leaders. To finish then, at the end, we will reference some of our key out-of-the-box offerings, workshops, as well as other areas where you can support. And that's in relation to your journey, whether it's early on in your journey, or perhaps your journey hasn't even begun yet, or maybe even you're further down the road and you're looking for some best practice guidance, and you want to review your usage so far, and how you can manage your adoption moving forward. And we will also be answering your questions at the end of the session, which you can happily start posting now and throughout the session in the chat window, and we will get round to those at the end of the session. We will endeavour to answer all of those questions today, but rest assured, if we don't get round to it, we will take those offline and get you a response on those. So let's, as mentioned, Mimi, if you just go to the next slide, we want to take a moment to introduce today's speakers. So we have Mimi, who is a consultant and is a consultant in the customer engagement team at Quantic. So for those of you familiar with the Dynamics 365 suite, Mimi is a consultant on the sales and marketing applications from a customer engagement perspective, or CRM perspective if you're still using sort of legacy terminology there. And she is also well versed in all things all things business intelligence, all things Power BI, and really knows the product very well. So she's really well placed to present the key content today and do a little live demo as well. We've also got myself, Sam Flanagan. So I'm a business applications specialist at Bytes, where I work on Dynamics and Power Platform engagements with a background in account management, previously at a Dynamics practice. So now is time for me to hand over to Mimi, who's going to start with an intro to Power BI at a high level, as I previously said. So over to you, Mimi.
Thank you very much, Sam. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mimi, and it's my pleasure to join you all today to talk about my favorite topic, Power BI. So in today's session, I would like to give you a high-level overview of Power BI and look into having Power BI, a Power BI report and dashboard embedded into a model-driven app, which is a Dynamics 365 sales, as well as having a Power Apps visual embedded into a Power BI report. And we will see how the data flow into the apps, like as well as Power BI when we have new data. And also we will talk about Power BI license at the end as well. So let's start. What is Power BI? As you all know, Power BI is part of the Power Platform, together with the Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. So Power BI is a collection of software services, apps, and connectors that work together to turn unrelated sources of data into coherent and interactive insights, Power BI consists of Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and Power BI.
Mimi, you've actually muted yourself, or someone's muted you. If you just go to the bottom left.
Yes. Are you able to hear me now?
We can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay, so Power BI consists of Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and Power BI Mobile. In today's session, I will not discuss too much about Power BI Mobile, but rather focus on Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service. So let's start with Power BI Desktop. Power BI Desktop is a free application that you can install on your local computer, and it lets you connect, transform, and visualize your data. I will show you like how Power BI Desktop looks and how it works later in the demo as well, and we will look into this function in details. First of all, from Power BI Desktop, you can connect to a variety of data sources, enable you to view and explore data from hybrid sources in a single location. You can connect to data from, like, as you can see from the slide, more than 80 data sources, and I believe this number of sources is increasing as well. And you are able to connect to data from like online to on-premises, from Excel to hybrid connection. And after you connect to the data, you can then transform the data using Power BI Desktop as well. From Power BI Desktop, you can consolidate data from a broad range of sources using merging or appending queries from multiple queries into a single one. As you all know, raw data always comes in like, you always have a lot of information from raw data, and a lot of them are not necessary for your report. So with Power BI Desktop, you are able to clean the data, remove the errors before properly analyzing it. You can also define calculation, which is known as measures in Power BI, to generate new fields to use in the report. These measures create new information from existing data in your model, and these measures are used in some of the most common data analysis, like sums, average, minimum, maximum, toppen, counts, or many more advanced calculations that you create for yourself as well, using a DAX formula, DAX. If you are an Excel expert, like very advanced users, I'm sure you are very familiar with the DAX formulas, and you shouldn't have any problems getting to start with Power BI Desktop and transform the data to create your own report. And from Power BI Desktop, you can also it can also help you detect the relationship between the tables, categorize your data automatically to fit your specific insights. Like, for example, when you load the data into Power BI, Power BI will help you identify if it is for example, if it's text field or date field or number field. So all of those data they are automatically identified for you to help with your report. And once you have the data, you clean up your data. And similar to other tools, you can visualize your data from Power BI Desktop. You can visualize data in a variety of ways using the built-in existing charts in Power BI Desktop, like line chart, pie chart, bar chart, anything that you can name. And also, you can also use the custom visuals available in Power BI Marketplace. And you can use a lot like beautiful visualizations from the custom visuals Power BI Marketplace. And so never before a timeline or a story visuals can be done so easily and so quickly using Power BI Desktop. And after you have finished like all of those visuals and all of those tables, you gather them together to create something called Power BI reports. And you can have different pages in the report. And then you save the files as a PBIX file. And then you can send the files to other people, and other people, if they download the Power BI desktop, they can also open the file and have a look at the reports that you created. And you can also publish the report that you created from Power BI desktop to Power BI service to show off like your beautiful reports with the rest of your organization, or with the rest of the world as well, because you can also publish it and then you share the link with other people. And that's also take us to the second part of the high-level overview of Power BI, which is the Power BI service. So what is Power BI service? Power BI service, also known as Power BI Online, is the software as a service part of Power BI. Slightly different from the Power BI desktop, you are able to create dashboards, workspace, and app from Power BI service. And you can also configure the schedule refresh if you use import mode when you load the data. We will look into this into details. First of all, from Power BI service, you are able to create and share the dashboard. So you are able to pin different visuals from the Power BI report to Power BI desktop dashboard. You can also pin the whole report to the dashboard as well if you'd like to. And then once the dashboard has been created, you are able to share the dashboard with other people. I think you are able to share up to 500 users at once the dashboard. And shared dashboard can be forced to be refreshed manually by end user, but if you pin the report or the visual as it's live, then you don't need to refresh. The moment that the report is updated with the latest data, your dashboard is also updated. You don't need to refresh it if you pin it live. And dashboard can also be shared with external users as long as you have the right Power BI license. And we will discuss Power BI license later. The next thing that you could do with Power BI service is Workspace. So what is Workspace? Workspaces are places to collaborate with your colleagues to create a collections of dashboard, reports, data sets. So by default, you always have your own workspace, which is called My Workspace. And the workspace administration is within Power BI. It is not in Office 365, but you can still manage user access to content through Microsoft 365 user groups. And in order to create workspace and manage workspace, you need a Power BI Pro license or Power BI Premium capacity. The Power BI Free will not give you access to Workspace. You have My Workspace, but if you would like to create another workspace to collaborate with other people, then you still need Power BI Pro or Power BI Premium license. And once you have the workspace, you are able to create an app from the workspace. So in Power BI, you can create an official package of content and distribute it to a wider audience within your organization as an app. And I will show you how the app works in Power BI service later in the demo. So basically, any reports or dashboards that are included in your workspace, you are able to publish them as an app. And last but not least, from Power BI service, you are able to configure the schedule refresh. So you are able, with Power BI service, you are able to schedule data refresh up to 8 times a day or up to 48 times a day with Power BI Premium license to keep your reports and dashboards always updated. In order to set up the refresh, the schedule refresh, you need to provide credentials for gateway connection. And I would strongly recommend you use the credential that will not require you to update the password every 3 months or 6 months, because if the password expires, then your data will not be refreshed. So your reports and your dashboard will not stay up to date, which is a little bit dangerous. So please bear that in mind. Or it is also recommended that you use some like admin account instead of your own your user credentials, because it should be something like organization owned instead of user owned for the gateway connection. And the data refresh is only required if you load data using import mode. If you load data using direct query, then this is not necessary, it's not relevant, because with direct query, your data is always like live, it's always fresh data. The moment that you open the Power BI report or Power BI dashboard, it is the live data that you are looking at, and you don't need to schedule refresh or anything. And that's also the summary, the overview of Power BI desktop and Power BI service. And now I would like to talk a little bit about Power BI license. What you need, what license you need if you would like to start with Power BI. So the availability of Power BI features.
I don't want this guy doing anything anymore now.
Sorry.
I don't want him to do anything now.
If you could just ensure
Too much
just on
fishing
mute,
game.
guys.
It's a fucking nightmare, man. Every time I
There you go.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Yes, so about Power BI license, the availability of Power BI features also depend on what license you are having. Power BI users can have either a free license to view your own personal reports and dashboards. So you just need to like install Power BI desktop and you create your own reports, and then you can publish it to your own workspace. You are not able to share it with anyone unless you send the PBIX file to the other person, and that person also have Power BI desktop installed in their own machine. That is the free license, but like you can start with Power BI for free and you don't need to pay for anything if you would like to. And the second one is the pro license. With the pro license, you are able to, like I have mentioned earlier, you have the ability to create workspace to and publish the app, to collaborate and share your reports and dashboard with other users within your organization as well. And if you have the premium license, you are able to share it with people like external users of outside users from your organization. So the premium license, the Power BI Pro license costs £7.5 per user per month, which is, in my opinion, it is not that expensive. So you pay £7 a month and you're able to create workspace and publish the app, and you share it with other people. But the other people also need the Power BI Pro license in order to access that. Otherwise, they will not be able to do so. If you would like to share the Power BI reports and dashboard or the app with users, and those users don't need the Power BI license, then you should consider the premium license, which is the organizational subscription for Power BI, for content storing and sharing as well. So you buy the premium license for your whole organization. And recently, I think in March, the Ignite event, Microsoft has also introduced the Power BI Premium per users, which allows users, which allow organizations to license premium features on a per user basis. So the premium per user includes all Power BI Pro license capabilities, and also add features such as like the paginated reports, AI, and other capabilities that are only available to premium subscribers. And the cost of per user license, as announced in the Ignite in March, is either $20 per user per month for a standalone license, but it is only $10 per user per month for users with an existing E5 enterprise license or a pro license aside. So that is the cost of Power BI Premium per user, which is like $20 per user per month if it is a standalone license, and it is $10, which is about £7.5 as well, per user per month for user with an existing E5 enterprise license or pro license, Power BI Pro license. So that is the end of my presentation, and I would like to take you to the demo, the live demo. I would like to show you Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, and Power BI Report embedded in model-driven app, and Power Apps embedded in a Power BI report. So this is the Power BI report that I created. I connected to Dataverse. So I believe you are familiar with Dataverse, the concept of Dataverse within Power Platform. So this is the opportunities entity or table, opportunity table from Dynamics 365. And I connect to it using direct query mode. So I don't need to refresh. And I connect it to Dataverse. So this is Power BI Desktop. If you go to the home page, you will see the icon for Dataverse. This is the new icon for Dataverse. Or you can also get data, and you have all of the availability, all of the connections that are available from Power BI Desktop. It's loading. Yeah. So if I click all, this is the list of all of the connections that you are able to connect to from Power BI Desktop, a lot of them. Online services. And you are able to find many of them here as well. So I connect to Dataverse using direct query for connect to opportunity table, and I build this report. And because I use direct query mode, that's why you will not be able to see all of the data here, because normally you will see all of the table here, but because I use direct query, so this cannot be shown. However, if you go to the transform data, which is the Power Query editor, you will be able to see all of the data table. Try to move it here. So you will be able to see the data, and you are able to like transform the data, and you are able to see the steps that you do for like what step that you have done to transform the data. You are able to see here as well. And it is, and all of these functions, they are quite similar to the Excel functions, I have to say, slightly different. But if you are you are an Excel advanced users, I think you don't have any problem. You will not have any problem getting started with Power BI and transform data from Power BI Desktop. So this is where you transform the data with all of the steps as well. And you are able to go back to each step to see what you have done, and then you can just delete it as well. And if I show you the source, then you will be able to see Common Data Service database, which it should be Dataverse. They have Microsoft have renamed it to Dataverse. Yep. Let me go back to this Power BI report. And this is where you see the table relationship. You can do the relationship quite easily by just drag and drop. To be honest, it's just so easy. And from the Power BI report, you will be able to see like all of the visualizations that you'd like to use as well. And it is just as easy as just drag and drop. For example, if I like to see opportunity, let me open the opportunity. I would like to see all of the sales event, the total opportunity of all of the sales event. I have some measures or some calculation that I can use as well. Total opportunity value. You just drag and drop. It's just that simple. Do this. That's it. You have one chart already. It's just that simple and that's quick to create a visuals from Power BI desktop. And once you have the Power BI desktop, you finish the report, you are able to publish it to a Power BI service. And I have published this report to a Power BI service, and I'm going to show you this report from Power BI service. So basically the interaction, the experience of the Power BI within Power BI desktop is not that much different from the experience in Power BI service. You still like interact with all of these visuals exactly the same way, but I would say it's slightly smoother. Okay, so this is the report that I published to Power BI service. You see it looks exactly the same. You are able to check, like for example, I would like to see everything related to the Wimbledon event. And this is because this use direct query, that's why it takes a little bit of time to load. You see the numbers has been updated. Yes, everything has been updated. You can either interact with the visuals from the Power BI service here, or you can also use the filter here as well. If I get all okay, if for example I can filter it here, so it's going to filter the data for the whole report page. I select Twickenham event. I don't know if anybody is a rugby fan. It's loading because we use direct query, that's why it takes a bit of time to load. If you use import mode, you're going to see the data flicked like in less than a second. So you can filter it by a lot of things as well, like for example by the event, by the sales team. Yep, so it's reflected. And you can also go to the quantity, and then you're in the quantity page. So you will not see the values of the opportunity, but you see the value, like the quantity, the number of opportunities for each event, for the team or by salesperson. And this is the lost opportunities analysis as well, because there can be some differences between the value and quantity. That's why it may be worth like having both. Okay, so this is Power BI service, and I want to show you the workspace. At the moment, this report is published to a Power BI demo workspace, and I have many other reports as well. And once you, let me show you from here, it's going to be easier. When you publish this one, okay, so I need to delete this one. I don't want to override some of the data that I've created, sorry. Select this one, publish, save it. You will be able to see the list of the workspace that where you would like to publish. First, you have to create the workspace in Power BI service, and then you're going to go to Power BI desktop. You select the workspace that you would like to publish your report to. And these are all of the reports and dashboard that I created for this workspace. And then I have an app created for this workspace already. That's why you see the update app here. Update the app. Update app. Update. It's going to take a while. Go to app. So we now have an app. The difference between an app and the Power BI workspace is that you're able to see all of the reports and dashboard from the app itself, and it looks like a little bit different. This is one of the reports that I created, and you can see the sales dashboards as well. And the good thing about Power BI service is you're able to ask questions. I know this are also available in Power BI desktop, but this also be available in the Power BI service. For example, total sales by region. boom, then you have it here. So I think this is one of the very cool things about Power BI service. You're able to just like ask question by typing like this, like using natural language. And you can see other dashboard that are added to this workspace as well. This is one of them. I want to show you this later because this dashboard is also embedded in the model-driven app. Yep, that's it. That is all about Power BI service and Power BI desktop. And now I would like to show you the Power BI report and dashboard embedded in a model-driven app. This is D365. If you are familiar with D365, then I'm sure you are like, you know this screen so well with all of these navigation. So I embed this sales dashboard into a dashboard in model-driven app Dynamics 365 Sales, and I pin this live. You can pin the whole report, or you can pin individual visuals to the dashboards as well, and they are live data. The difference between pinning an individual visuals from pinning a report is, if you pin a visual, then you click the visual, then you go to the report that that holds that visual. So I want to go to the opportunity value report that I created. When I click on the pinned visuals, and the interaction is exactly the same. Here. And for the pin report, you are able to interact with the report right from Dynamics 365, which is so good. Oopsie, sorry. This one, oh my God, what is going on? Oh my God, I think something was wrong. I made some changes to the report, but you are able to filter it down as well. Let's see. Oh my God, something is wrong. I need to have a look at this report later. But you are able to pin, and you are able to interact with it as well. And you are also able to embed the Power BI report to a record in Dynamics 365 as well. In this case, I embed the opportunity report to an account and table in Dynamics 365. So you will have a Power BI report here, and it is filtered based on the account, and you will only see the opportunities that belong to this particular account. You can see here. So this customer bought £800,000 worth of, like, not really bought, this is just the opportunities. The total opportunities value of these customers is £800,000, and there are some lost opportunity as well. Mistake by salesperson and too expensive. It is exactly the same how you interacted in Power BI service from within the model-driven app. And if I go to another account, for example, I don't know if we have any in this one. If I don't have any opportunities for this customer, then everything would be blank. Yep, everything is blank because this customer doesn't have any opportunity. For example, let's go to, I know this customer bought a lot. You see, so there is one open opportunities here. And let's go to that opportunities and win it. And we will see the one opportunity showing up in Power BI report embedded here as well. And we don't need to refresh the Power BI report. Okay, so this is the opportunity. I'm going to go with S1. Okay, and now if I go back to this account, I go to Power BI. Yep, we have one opportunities now. So it is like it's reflected immediately in the Power BI report, and we do not have to refresh or anything. And last but not least, I would like to show you, oopsie, give me 1 second, please. I'd like to show you this one. This is the goal report that I created for this like demo company. The sales versus targets for 2 teams, and the sales targets by the event, and the sales targets for the team as well. These are all of these are Power BI like standard visuals, and the one that you see on the right hand side, it is a canvas app that I create and I embed it into the Power BI report. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to update the sales goal from the Canvas app, and that sales goal is immediately reflected in the Power BI report. So that is what we would like to show you next, how like everything is live and everything is interacted with each other. Okay, so for example, let's see. For corporate sales, they are doing quite well. I can say like Boston, they like 51% to reach the target already. Let's raise the target a little bit. So let's go to Boston. And I would like to raise the target to, instead of 2 million, I would like to raise it to 2,200,000. And we're going to see this, all of these to be updated. Yeah, you can see it's slightly going up now. Instead of 16.5 million, it is now 16.7. That is how fast and how live data it is. I've got a lot of requests before when I did Power BI reports for sales executives, and they was like every month they have a meeting to review the sales goal. And they always ask, is it possible to update it on Power BI report? But 5 years ago, we didn't have these features. And we always had to say, no, we had to go back and ask like people from Dynamic 365 team with the right permission to update the sales goal. But now with the integration between Power Apps and Power BI, you are able to edit it, update the data, like immediately. So you are not only visuals like view the data, but you are able to act on it like on the spot straight away immediately. And also the security is restricted as well. Not everyone has the ability to update the sales goal here in this report, because first this report needs to share with them, like somebody has to share this report with them, and second they need the security role to allow them to edit the sales goals. So it is like it is the security wise, it is really good, and you're able to do it straight away, and you see the data is reflected straight away as well in Power BI, because I connect this Power BI report to Dataverse using direct queries. So the data is written in the data source the moment that you update it on the Canvas app. So back to my presentation. So why should we select Power BI? So first of all, Power BI is an industry leader within this market, like the BI market. Gartner recognizes Microsoft as a leader for the 14th consecutive year in the 2021 Gartner Magic Quadrant for analytics and BI platforms. And you can see Microsoft is placed very high in the list as well. The gap between Microsoft and Tableau and Qlik, it is quite a gap. The gap was not this big before, but yeah, it's going up now. And of course, insight into action, as you have just seen, you are able to update the data when you viewing it. So you go from data to insights, and from insights to action with Power Apps embedded into Power BI. And you can also have Power Automate embedded as well, so that you can automate some other functions like sending an email or create a task or something like that. It's going to be exactly the same. BI in everyone's hands. So Power BI Desktop is free to download, and then you can use the Power BI free license to create your own report. It is so easy to start with Power BI by just downloading the Power BI Desktop into your machine, get a hold of like an Excel report or something, then load into Power BI Desktop and just like drag and drop, and you have your own report to show up to the world. And last but not least, real-time reports and dashboard. If you use direct query mode or if you use import mode, you are able to like schedule the refresh up to 48 times a day. And I will now hand over it to Sam to introduce some of our services that are available to help you with Power BI.
Yes, thanks very much, Mimi. Some really good content there, and really enjoyed the live demo.
Yep.
As mentioned at the start of the session, we do have many options available to help support you with Power BI. The dashboard in a day workshop is a really great way to start and immerse yourself into the technology, explore the art of the possible, and really have an expert consultant guide you through the creation and sharing of dashboards and reports, which will of course, these reports will of course be unique to your business. So it's very much a tailored offering that we customize towards yourself. It's comprehensive as well. So we don't just look at the reporting and the visualization aspect. We also help you with the data modeling and the data shaping aspect that goes into the back end, which is obviously fundamental to having Power BI perform and respond how you want it to. So it's a really useful service for all, especially those in the early stages looking for that bit of guidance and best practice early on. That's vital to driving a successful adoption moving forward and getting the most out of the platform. There is a cost as well associated that you can see on the slide, but there is avenues for funding that can also be explored. There is a poll that's popped up. We're also going to reference another offering as well. So if you're not sure whether this is the right fit for you, then there is also another offering that we're going to reference now, maybe if you want to move on. So if either one of these two offerings that we're referencing is potentially of interest, then let us know. So we also have the Power BI Health Check, which is a slightly different service that we offer. Now this is really more orientated to those who have an existing investment in the platform and want to see whether they are maximizing their investment, shall we say, from the solution, and want to establish whether there's areas they could perhaps improve their performance or their overall experience with the product. And there's flyers for both of these offerings in the chat window, by the way. It can even be more sort of basic than that. It can be, we've invested a lot of time and resource into the platform, but we still can't seem to get our dashboards and our visualizations looking how we want to. So for the sake of a few hours or a day even on a workshop where it can all be captured and sort of nipped in the bud there, it can be really worth your time as opposed to kind of struggling on by yourselves. So we can happy to support from that angle too. So both of these are obviously out of the box offerings, if you like, where these are out of the box offerings, but also if you have a specific requirement that perhaps isn't met by either of these two offerings, then please also get in touch or even suggest your interest here, and we'll reach out and we can offer something more bespoke, shall we say, whether that's governance of your adoption or trying to expand and enhance your adoption of the tool company-wise, and you want to you want to strategize about how you might go about that, then that's that's one of the countless ways we can kind of support you from a Power BI perspective. So do let us know. I think from a content perspective, if you want to just move the slide on, Mimi, I think that's it pretty much from a content perspective. So as we mentioned, we are going to come to a few questions now. And again, if we don't get around to all of them, don't be offended. We will pick those up offline. So maybe I'm gonna field a few questions towards yourself. So we've got one here that says, how would I start with building custom visuals?
So there is a big community for custom visual. And as I showed you earlier in the Power BI desktop, if you go to the Power BI marketplace, you will see all of the custom visuals available for you, and you can start from there. And there is a good library of like GitHub, in GitHub for Power BI custom visual as well, and you can have a look at that. Yes, okay. Thank you for your question.
Great stuff. There's been a couple of questions around clarifying the difference between reports and dashboards.
Oh, so reports and dashboards. So as you can see, like basically you are not able to create a dashboard from Power BI desktop. You can only create a dashboard from Power BI service. And for report, you are able to create them in both Power BI desktop and Power BI service. And also for Power BI dashboard, you will pin different reports or different visuals from the report to Power BI dashboard. And you can have multiple reports in one dashboard as well. Yes, okay. I hope that answers the questions.
Yes, no, that does. Got a few more if that's okay. How do you go about limiting user access to data that's being shown in the Power BI report?
Yes, so you are able to restrict the access. For example, like in my previous report, you would not like people from corporate sales team to view the data from direct sales team. So you're going to use the role level security. You're going to set up that parameter in Power BI desktop or Power BI service as well, so that you're going to limit the access. So when the sales team people from corporate sales, they view that Power BI report, they will only view the corporate sales data. They will not be able to view the direct sales data. So it is role level security.
Okay, so that's great. We've got a licensing question, which I can potentially field actually. If a user has a Power BI premium user license, do users you are sharing with still need a license? So for the premium per user option, yes, they would. Every user creating or viewing premium dashboards would need a premium per user license. That's obviously different from the Power BI premium per node, so the capacity route, where you would only need a pro license, for example, if you want to share, not view the dashboard. So I hope that answers your question. Someone has said they can manually export the data behind the visual from one of their published reports. Can this process be automated? But perhaps that's even a use case for Power Automate, maybe?
I think yes. I think it may be we may be able to do it with Power Automate, and also I think with the capabilities to export data, it should be restricted as well. Like not all users should be allowed to export the data to like, for example, Excel or other format. But yes, definitely you can definitely use a Power Automate to do it for you automatically.
Okay, great. I'm just going to do the last couple now, and they relate to the embedded Power BI aspect. So
yes.
It's someone said they may have missed it, but how do you go about embedding that Power BI report that you had embedded into the dashboard? How do you go about doing that, and what are the associated costs with embedded Power BI?
Oh, I'm not so sure about the cost, but I can show you how it is done. So basically, let me go back to, is it all right if I close this screen? Then I can show you how I embed it.
Yeah.
So in order to embed this Power BI report into a model-driven app, I first need to create a holder for this Power BI report. So I create a new tab on this account, and then I use XRM Toolbox. I don't know if you are familiar with XRM Toolbox. Then I use the form XML manager from XRM Toolbox to edit the form XML to have this Power BI report embed into it. And because I use this is contextual filtering, so for example, I want to use the account ID to filter this report. And this report also have an account ID column. So it's going to look like, it's going to target the account ID column within Power BI report to map it with the account ID of the account in D365. Basically, that is how that is the idea. And because this, I connect to this, I use Dataverse. I connect directly to the data source of D365. That's why I think like Microsoft, like they are the same software, so they know it talks about the same thing, and that's how it is filtered. I can send you the link to the guidance, like instructions step by step how to do it, and you can speak to our sales team about like having it for your organization as well if you are interested. But we use XRM Toolbox from XML Manager to do it.
Great stuff. And we'll get back to you on the. We've got a record on who asked the question around Power BI cost with the embedded option. So we'll reach out, and we'll also reach out to all the other questions as well. We'll take those offline. But from a content perspective, that's it today. So yeah, we certainly hope this was a useful session for those that have indicated that they want some form of follow-up in the form of a workshop or some further information. We will certainly reach out very shortly and get in touch. And for those that this was more just sort of information gathering, and potentially further down the road want to explore this, we hope it was still a good use of your time. And yes, we will let you get back to your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And yeah, thanks very much for your time, everyone. And thanks, Mimi.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.